Seasons come, seasons go, here's a list, please leave a like and subscribe. Just a disclaimer, I won't include sequels or continuation of seasons because you already have an opinion on them, but I will mention some of my favorites. Second season of Kaguya-sama Love is War and Fruits Basket, and also Black Clover. People should stop sleeping on this one especially. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just became a generic card game anime with a new art style, new game rules, and a new reason to commit Sudoku. It's upsetting to see what they've done to my baby, and it makes me mad. If I wanted a generic awful card game anime, I would have watched Cardfight Vanguard. If the previous series had villains like the progenitor of the World of Darkness, who wanted to bring peace through complete nullification, a time-traveling dude who wants to destroy a city, taking countless lives just to prevent his ruined future from occurring, an alien god who wanted to fuse his war with the Earth to find a card named Numeron Code, allowing him to warp reality, or a demented duelist who, after being split in 4 different dudes across 4 different dimensions, wanted to regain his initial form so he can rule over the dimensions. This season's villains will be the teacher giving extra homework to these brats. Weirdly, they tease a lot of demon stuff like the number 666, or the fact that Rook has literally demon power. In my opinion, this is their way of giving us the middle finger. It's like, you see, we have this dark stuff, so this is totally not a kids show, until they reveal it was all a gag joke. The thing that upsets me the most is the concept of rush duels. They took the speed duels from the previous season and somehow made it worse. The rules are so different the game might as well not be called Yu-Gi-Oh! With the new studio being Bridge, the art style looks so generic. With the last studio, Gallop, you saw a frame and immediately knew it was Yu-Gi-Oh! I get that all of these changes were done to attract new fans to the show and card game, and yes, the actual game got so complicated it's hard to keep up, but still this all feels wrong. I hope this somehow gets better, but like my parents' marriage, I don't think it will. Until then, 2 out of
Kaiba boy.
Gagnier is an anime that feels like it was made by a kid that was kidnapped from the year 2014 and brought to the future and asked what are his 3 favorite things, and his answer were tits, asses and 5 Nights at Freddy's, thus creating Guten Tag. The anime has more jumpscares than the actual game that made YouTubers famous by them making weird faces.
No! Fucking fuck!
1 second you have 2 cute kids having fun, enjoying their life, the next one, boom, fan service. You like that, don't you? Don't you? Don't get me wrong, I love fan service in anime, when it's done right, but here is like, how can we keep the audience watching this show? Oh, I know, let's bombard them with assets. It's too overused and unnecessary. The whole thing with the boy turning into a costume is also stupid. What should be a thing like he turned this way because he wanted to be with a girl forever or some shit like that? Such a simp. I enjoy more the girl with the weird legs and arms than the fucking horny Chuck E. Cheese mascot. Oh, and did I mention the reason both of them turn into these horrific, grotesque monsters? That's how they picture it. For me, I always laugh when I see the reject animatronic. Was by drinking the new flavor Coke? One thing I actually liked was the fight scene so far, which we only had 1. That was pretty good, so 6 out of Chuck E. Cheese. Now you might be asking yourself, why did I put this and Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s in a top anime list if I don't like them? Easy, because I started watching them and I might as well include them in this stupid list.
お父さんの隠し事はお父さんの隠し事は書く仕事でした。
Or what happens when you are a father and a doujinshi artist and you try to hide from your adorable little girl? This is the story of Kakushigoto, our dirty protagonist, and his adventure in keeping his daughter's mind clean from the nasty stuff he draws. Since Hime was born, Goto promised he will do everything possible in keeping his job a secret from her, thus developing a severe case of paranoia. Even at the slightest chance that Hime could find about his job, he freaks out and starts doing everything in his power to prevent it. One example is that he leaves home dressed as a salaryman while going to his workplace, but stops at like a fashion boutique shop to change in more comfortable clothes. Another example of his paranoia is that Goto does emergency drills in case Hime came visiting while he was working. The dynamic between this crazy single father and his innocent little girl puts a smile on my face, the same way Demon Slayer did when it won Anime of the Year and made anime elitists angry. Ah, what a time. 6.9 out of Aheago. This next anime is a weird one from the response it gets online. Some like it, some despise it even more than Sword Art Online. I'm somewhat in between. I like it but still have some issues with it. In a world where music doesn't exist anymore, you have these creatures called earless, and the only thing that can stop them are the players. They are some sort of soldiers with an input jack in their body who control mechs called equipment. The story starts in a town called Leicester, this being one of the many real-life references, with our protagonist Rek Echo. His dream is to be able to create equipment for other players. One day when he was on his job in the scrapyard, he finds Mew, a player girl who lost her memory. By the way, she has one of my favorite character designs this season. After this meeting and a fight with some earless later, they both leave the town in order to find more about Mew's past. Oh, and there's this character Jimmy, who is hyped as much as Madara was. Also, there are a lot of rock music references which I like a drug spray that you inhale that's called Teen Spirit. Now the things I didn't like. The 3D CJ moments, they look bad. The mechs design are also quite bad, and the story kinda gets complicated at some points for no reason. But I still enjoy this anime, main reason being Mew. 7 out of waifu. Wave Listen to Me represents the story of the new and up-and-coming ASMR female protagonist, Koda Minare, which looks like Sakura's mother from Naruto. Her journey starts as a waitress in a dubious restaurant, her most notorious trait being her throat skills. That's right, she can talk. A lot. But one night at a bar and a meeting with a daddy later, her career in ASMR radio business was about to begin. After Daddy Mato listened to her babbling about how she'll commit second-degree murder by ending her ex-boyfriend's life or something along those lines, like I said, she talks a lot, and it's kinda hard to keep up. You know, me being stupid and all that. He's sure he can make a fortune from this drunk lady's tongue skills, and that's by putting her in a radio booth and let her talk some more. One fire from her job at the restaurant and getting hired by the radio, while also getting rehired by the restaurant later, her career in ASMR could start. She can finally make that dough by talking some more, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that this lady spits 200 words per second. This is the main shtick of this anime. This lady talks so much she barely has time to breathe. The only time she does is when she blushes over Daddy Mato. I mean, who wouldn't? Just look at that hunk of a Moving on. In a show where the main point is the voice of a character, I have to say they nailed the voice actor in Sugiyama Riho. I don't know, but there is something about it that tickles my fancy, not in a weird way, like it never has been tickled before since Diavolo's reveal. 7.53 out of Mato's Daddy Charm.
16世紀初頭のフィレンツェ
Ah, the 16th century, the period where the respect all women movement wasn't invented yet. So naturally, all men equal bad, especially towards our cute protagonist Arte, born an aristocrat but wanting something more from her noble life. Tired of the expectation that she needs to marry a fine stud nobleman and live her life as a housewife, she decides to take life in her own hands by doing what she loves most, drawing. Her dream being to make a living out of her own passion without the help and pity of other men. Only problem is, everybody doesn't believe women could become artists, so she gets rejected from every studio, until one faithful meeting with our second daddy of this season, Leo. Daddy Leo, wanting to show Arte the harsh reality that women can perform at the same level of men, he gives her an almost impossible task, with the promise that if she succeeds, Daddy will take her in his workshop. After Arte pulled an all-nighter doing the task she was given, the next day Leo finds her sleeping on the floor with her job finished. Our daddy being impressed and surprised that she actually pulled it off, he keeps his promise and takes Arte to be his apprentice. This being Arte's first step in becoming an artist. She still has a lot of challenges ahead of her if she wants to become an independent woman in a world where men are considered more superior in talent. 7.9 out of Step on Me Daddy.
でもそうはさせないわ。来るなら来なさい、破滅フラグ。この私が相手になってやる。
Imagine getting game ended in real life only to be reborn in a game world. Such an interesting and unheard of premise, I'm sure, but it's exactly what happened to our nameless protagonist, who got reincarnated in Kleist Katarina not as a heroine but as the villainess of a dating game. But there is a major problem. All the game's endings lead to either her being stranded on an empty island or worse, getting killed a second time. Not good. So she has to tread carefully as to not speed up her impending doom she's trying to escape. Knowing what the game has in store for her, she starts to get some preventive measures, like learning how to farm in case she screws up and ends up on an island, and how to fight with a sword due to the fact her magic powers are not that good. All of this and the fact that she tries to be more of a lovable character than the evil original Kleist Katarina are all part of her plan for getting the good ending. By using her big brain game knowledge, she tries to be friends with every main character, doing things opposite of the actual game character she reincarnated in. This leads her to creating a big game orgy, making every man and woman anime blush at her presence. In her attempts to change her fate, Claes Katarina also changes the fate of other characters she interacts with, every good deed done transforming her more and more from the villainess of the game to an actual heroine. 8 out of Doki Doki Literature Club. It's that time of the year to become a furry again. If last year we had Beastars that solidified the fact that we are all a little bit furry on the inside, now it's time for brand new animal to make us to bring out our tail accessories from the closet. The story follows our protagonist Kagemori Michiru, who one day transforms into a beastman, a species that can modify their body from human to animal and the other way around. Problem is, if ordinary beastmen are born with this genetic mutation known as Beast 4, she wasn't, so she can't control the transformation that great. To avoid the hate of humans towards beastmen, she adventures to Anima City, the paradise of beastmen, or so she thought. Michiru arrives at the city during its 10th anniversary. At first, she is excited to be free from the hate towards her from the humans, but later finds out that Anima City isn't the all-beautiful and peaceful city she thought it is. During the festival, she witnesses a terrorist bombing attack from other beastmen, but fear not, because it's time to introduce the romantic interest of the anime in the big bad wolf Ogami Shiro. They both team up stopping the people behind the bombing, at the same time figuring that Michiru is actually not an ordinary beastman, but something more unique. 8.23 out of butt plugs.
俺の名は神戸大輔。
Have you ever wondered what you could do if you had infinite money? Well, our playboy detective Kanbe Daisuke doesn't, because he does have infinite money. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the protagonist of the year. Due to the fact that his bank account balance is unlimited, he pays his way through interrogations and every little problem, like buying a $300 million car with $1 billion and telling the bastard to keep the change. I don't know about you, but I'm already wet. On the contrast, we have Kato Haru, a detective that believes in doing things the old-fashioned way is better and that money can't buy everything. Ha! What a fool. Even though they are polar opposites, they have to work together to solve mysteries, each of them doing things their own way, but we all know Kanbe does it better and more efficient. Oh, and did I mention this anime has one of the best openings this season? Now that's what I call a banger. 9.5 out of... Now I want to talk about my favorite anime this season, which, without a slim gem of a doubt, is Sing Yesterday for me. The reason I enjoyed this more than any other anime this season is, for starters, the premise. A mature take on the slice of life genre feels so new and refreshing from the usually school life approach that I'm used to. After finishing college, our main protagonist Uozomi Rikuo started working at a convenience store, with every day passing uneventfully until an unexpected meeting with Nonaka Haru, a high school dropout. I say unexpected even though she has been in love with Rikuo since they first met randomly on a crosswalk, wanting to meet him again. Sadly, he has feelings for another girl, his former classmate Morinome Shinako, but as a weird trend in this anime, Shinako still has feelings for the deceased older brother of our fourth main protagonist, Hayakawa Ro, not being able to move on. But Ro fell in love with her even though she thinks of him as nothing more than a young brother. And here are our four main protagonists, all of them not having an idea about their future, moving through life without a plan. Rikuo working as a clerk at the convenience store after college, not being able to find his role in society. Haru dropping out of school due to the fact she works at a bar that sells alcohol during evening. Shinako, who works as a teacher, still not being able to move past the death of her former lover. And Ro, who picked up drawing just to have his things, something he can be better than his brother. They all live troubled lives, all of them needing to find a reason for them and a path they can be happy with. 10 out of I will most definitely bawl my eyes out until the end of this anime.